The rain kept coming and the snow kept melting on Thursday, and that has many homeowners dealing with a mess. For some homeowners in Crystal, it's been a long night and day. At Crystal City Council member Nancy LaRoche's home, her carpet is torn up after the basement flooded. It was a big mess with standing water. LaRoche says she's lived there 22 years and says nothing like this has ever happened to her home. She calls it a perfect storm this year with lots of snow followed by Arctic cold and now rain.
We've had some areas concerned about roofs collapsing, but mainly that's not been the issue. It's been now the thaw and now the rain. So you've got all of this rain that has nowhere to go but into your walls.
LaRoche says she also heard from a neighbor who had rain pouring through her basement window. Some tips to prevent damage. First, make sure your sump pump is working if you have one. And two, make sure your gutters are not clogged so the rain flows away from your house. The former treasurer of the Park Center Girls Basketball Booster Club is accused of stealing thousands of dollars from the organization. 27-year-old DeWitt Davison of Golden Valley is charged with 1 count of felony theft. According to the criminal complaint, the Booster Club became aware of the theft when the organization received bank notices for insufficient funds. Bank records show that Davison withdrew at least $12,000 without authorization. The transactions included charges to running Aces Casino. Davison later admitted to the theft. He told investigators he took the money due to issues with his marriage and his finances. The Plymouth City Council faces an upcoming vote on a police body camera policy. Over the last few years, local cities have deployed body cameras as a way to improve transparency. Those cities include Crystal, Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center, and Golden Valley. According to Plymouth City officials, false reports involving police go down about 90% when body cameras are in place.
They do have an important place in this 21st century when everybody has a phone. And I am in support of this now. I think it would be good to have our officers to have the capacity to tap the camera, and that backloads the last 2 minutes, records the incident, and in our case will justify the officer's actions. I'm confident of that.
Under the proposed policy, Plymouth officers would not record all of the time, just when responding to incidents. The City Council expects to vote on the policy in the next month or two. If the time change has you feeling groggy this week, one local lawmaker feels your pain. Representative Mike Freiberg has a bill in the House to move Minnesota to standard time, like Hawaii and most of Arizona. Essentially, it would keep daylight saving time permanent to avoid those twice-yearly clock shifts. The issue does seem to have bipartisan support, and House Speaker Melissa Hortman is signed on as a co-sponsor. A few downsides include earlier sunsets during the summer months and sunrises not until 9 a.m. during the wintertime. Pedestrians were the loudest voice Wednesday night at a meeting about the future of County Road 47 in Plymouth.
One of the big concerns we've heard from residents is the lack of pedestrian facilities along the corridor. So trails or sidewalks, there's no safe place to walk along the corridors.
County Road 47 extends from Northwest Boulevard to Brockton Lane near the Maple Grove border. The city is studying what the future of the road should be, so they have a plan before money is allocated for road improvements.
So once this study is done, we should have that roadmap on how to make those investments based on the data, the hard data that we're getting on crashes, speeds, but also the input from our residents on what their concerns are.
Plymouth residents have shared a variety of concerns about County Road 47 over the years. Those include a desire for improved intersections and a lack of turn lanes. Breck School is offering students the opportunity to get out of the classroom to do advanced research. In today's School Spotlight, reporter Sonia Goen shows us how the Golden Valley School's advanced history class is analyzing race and culture in Minnesota.
This is a project or a class that a lot of colleges offer. The idea is to put the students in front of people who are part of history, who are making the decisions, and what they have to do is they have to do the work to prepare for those conversations.
The advanced history class is one of 3 upper-level research programs at Breck. For the most part, students work on their own.
It's all about asking the questions, and that's what we're trying to do.
This year's topic is Race and Place, the Coloring of the Twin Cities.
Why is the Twin Cities area set up the way it is? Why do certain people live in certain parts of the Twin Cities?
The class is small, and students had to apply to take the course. The idea is to put students in front of history makers.
We've interviewed and met with a number of leaders throughout the Twin Cities area. Mayor Ryback, we met with Dr. Sam Myers at the University of Minnesota.
Students selected their own topics, subjects like the migration of blacks in Minnesota during the 1800s.
My topic specifically is looking at segregation to now.
Sydney Umana is researching the state's large achievement gap and trying to determine how it happened.
And we also have increased segregation, and I'm also looking at why after forced, legal integration, we're still having this problem.
People are still fighting for equality in the same way they were back then.
Student Gabe McHenry is focusing on the movie Birth of a Nation and the resurgence of the KKK.
Terribly racist, did really, really bad things, but when you look at it as a piece of art, it was so revolutionary.
Scholars think out of the box and in the end present their findings during a presentation in May.
I really enjoyed it, and I think all the stuff we're learning is really important, not just for us to know, but for us to share with other people.
Sonia Goins is CCX News.
Every day is a great day for pie, but there's something special about eating pie on the 14th day of March.
Kind of ramped up slowly. The first couple times it snuck up on us, and then, because you'd hear people talking about it on social media, but didn't really think much of it. And then all of a sudden we started connecting the fact that, hey, they're coming in for pie because of Pie Day. So.
Restaurants like the 50s Grill in Brooklyn Center expects to sell about 50 pies, which is roughly 5 times the amount they'd sell on a normal day.
For the third straight year, Wayzata and Hopkins were matched up in the Section 6 4A Boys Basketball Championship. After 2 regular season losses to the Royals, the Trojans are hoping for a little section final magic last night in the title game at Osseo. And they start out shooting well. Camden Heide hits back-to-back three-pointers to give the Trojans an early lead. Wayzata forces a turnover, and they get a fast break. Jacob Benninga scores to make it 14-12 Trojans. Back comes Hopkins. Kerwin Walton is red hot on three-pointers, hitting 4 of them in the first half, and the Royals lead by 6. Zeke Naji passes to a wide-open Dane Zimmer under the basket for 2. 11 points in the game for the senior. Hopkins leads by 11 at the half. Early second half, it's Walton with another 3. The junior nets 25 points in the game as the Royals extend their lead. Benningen, what would be his final high school game, hits a 3 on his way to a 30-point night, but it's not enough as Hopkins holds its double-digit lead throughout the second half. Naji scores a team-high 29 points. Hopkins wins a section title and a trip to state 82-71. After the game, our Ryan Iverson talked to Zimmer and Walton.
We just played every possession on defense and couldn't let them shoot. We tried to get out on our shooters and play the drive, and I thought it went pretty well. I was really locked in before the game mentally because, that's really what helped me, my shot going tonight.
2 more section boys finals involving local Class 4A teams are taking place the next 2 nights. Tonight, Thursday, Maple Grove faces Buffalo in the Section 8 final. And then Friday night, it's Champlin Park and Park Center in the Section 5 4A title game. In Class 2A, 2 local teams were matched up in the Section 5 AA semifinals. 3rd seeded Maranatha Christian Academy meeting 2nd seed Breck at St. Michael Albertville. David Roddy with a defensive rebound for Breck. Outlets to Jared Morton. He does a nice job avoiding the charge there, pulling up for the jumper. Justin Mason, one of 3 MCA Mustangs to score exactly 11 points. His 3 pulls Maranatha within 4 at 25-21. Andy Ott hits a 3 from the corner for Breck. He scores 10 in the game. Breck leads by 8 at 31-23. Coach Brad Barber's team sees MCA cut that margin down, though. In transition, it's Hakim Daniels scoring in the paint. 36-31 Breck leads at halftime. Second half, and Maranatha pulls within 1. Another 3-pointer from Mason. That's as close as they get. Breck holds its lead. Roddy, nice dish off to Joey Ganley for 2 of his 19 points. Roddy leads all scorers with 22. Breck wins 75-65. The Breck seniors say they'll be ready for Friday night's section final.
It's a lot different than past years because I know I'll never be able to play for Breck again after this. So the motivation going into the games is way different than in past.
Breck faces Minneapolis North for the 5AA championship Friday night at St. Cloud State. The Cooper girls basketball team is in the state Class 3A tournament after winning it all last year. The second-seeded Hawks faces Austin in the quarterfinals. Cooper's Kiara Wheeler hits the jump shot early in the game. She scores 11 points in the first half. Jayla Relaford drives with the left hand and hits the floater with the right for the Hawks. And then Asia Wheeler, nice crossover dribble. She finishes with the hoop. It's 14-7 Cooper. Austin runs the break. Abby Lewis to Kira Walters. She scores. The Packers try to keep pace with the Hawks. Asia Smith rattles in a three-pointer for Cooper as the Hawks end the first half on an 11-3 scoring run. They lead at 40-24 at the break. Andrea Tribble strokes the step-back three-pointer for Cooper early in the second half as the Hawks run continues. Asia Wheeler zips a pass to her sister Kiara. She scores. Kiara finishes with 19 points and 13 rebounds. Asia Wheeler leads all scorers with 22 points as Cooper wins 72-40. The Hawks are facing Becker in the semifinals. We'll have highlights of that game, plus the Hopkins Centennial 4A semifinal and Heritage Christian's opening game of the Class A tournament Friday afternoon here on CCX Sports.